With the playoffs in full swing, we step up to bat on this week's episode of the Indie Ball Report podcast. We're back, episode number 338 of the Indie Ball Report podcast, I think is something like that. Yeah, 338.
All right.
There's too many of these to keep track of.
That's fair.
Just keep going. We'll hit 365. There'll be enough for one every day of the year, and someone will do that, and then they may be on a real 48 soon enough. So we have playoff baseball going on in 2 leagues, about to begin in another league, and 2 weeks away from a 4th league. So we really are in the dying stages of the regular season and the real meat and potatoes part of the postseason, which is what we really care about here.
Dying. Don't tempt me with a good time. Anyway, yeah, it's been fun, man. Honestly, it's been kind of, I feel bad because there's like good races going on. I mean, Pioneer League just wrapped up, but like the Atlantic League's got some good races going on, and I'm just like so locked into the playoffs. So I feel like an idiot.
Well, not playoffs are what we care about here. Like in the Atlantic League races, let's be totally honest with ourselves too, really are down to a couple of 3 teams. I guess Elfsor will start this week, and I'm sure there'll be some people that are like, talk about the Jackals first. There's playoff baseball going on. The Jackals can sit in the back where they belong. Now,
that's quite an opinion.
That Atlantic League race really is, if things hold, then second half Stormers plus Gastonia. If only one holds, then Long Island instead.
Gastonia is letting teams back into this in the South, and that's driving me nuts.
Because they
were so close to closing this out, and I just want the Gastonia High Point series so bad, and they're just like,
it'll just be.
Wouldn't it be funny if Lexington was back? I'm like, can we not do this?
I think it'd be hilarious because like it's High Point and mid teams in the South.
And we all just saw how well that went for Lake Country.
Well, we'll get to Lake Country in a minute there. But
we'll get to them.
We'll be euthanizing those dogs in a minute.
Oh, my God.
But not the Chicago ones. They're going to be around for a little bit.
No, I was going to say, yeah. Really, it was just a Michael Vick situation out there.
Well, don't worry. I'm sure the Chicago version of the dogs will be lighting up the night like a firework on the 4th of July. But, or more like, say, the 21st of August. But now we're just picky over dates. Any case, but yes, the Atlantic League race really is just down to a few teams here. I do kind of feel bad for Long Island because they had such a good first half too, where they struggled in the beginning, but then they got together fairly early on, I guess. I mean, midway mark of the first half, and have been good since. It's just like second half Storms is a thing, and you should know that.
That's it. Yeah, that is the thing. It's like I feel for them because it just sort of sucks when that, you know, you feel like you're doing it right and you're getting screwed, and it's a good bounce back year for them and something they should be happy with and building on. But also it's like, you know, you have to bring it in the first half if you're in the North Division because the second half Stormers thing is a nightmare.
Yeah. And like at this point, it's not a coincidence. It's a strategy.
Oh yeah, I agree. I'm sure they would speak to that as well. Like this is what they do. You just have to know that's how this is going to be going. And Long Island's start was not good enough. I mean, they also ran to the situation where York was so good in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, they even cooled off at the end, and they still had a really impressive record. So that's something for sure. It's funny. When you said it, caught me off guard because the whole like you kind of almost feel bad for Long Island thing, and my gut is like no, and then everyone was like, well, yeah, I guess. Like Long Island hasn't won in a long time. And like, this is a Lou Ford team that's like, you know, you want Lou to do well. You like, you know, career indie ball guys, like guys who, not career, because obviously Lou has his own like thing, but like he has had on top of his other career where he made it to the majors, he has made it like through like an entire full length indie ball career at this point as well. And he's choosing to stay around and build. And, you know, seems like a good dude. People seem to like him. Like you want that to be good. I think the league is better when the Ducks are there, whether it's because it's more competitive or whether because it's a Darth Vader effect. You know, I think it's something that we all benefit from. So seeing them fade a little bit's been disappointing. They're not out of it, but
It's just they're blocked in a lot of
well,
ways.
I mean, the Stormers have dropped 4 in a row, by the way. So like, let's not act like it. I mean,
yeah, but still, like, it's an expectation that they're going to pull it out and make it work here. And Long Island has also been struggling against Gastonia too, who's a team that I still believe is fraudulent, and I'm going to continue to believe is fraudulent until this season is done.
yeah, you're starting to win me over toward that.
I know I am. It's getting fun. But more to the point, back on Long Island here, this is about as likable as the Long Island team is going to get. I mean, Luke Ford's likable. Billy Horn's likable. Bobby Blevins doesn't really have too many enemies out there. And then you look at the actual roster of guys, there's some fun names on here. Rivertown's fun. Leobaldo Cabrera's fun. Let's see, who else do we have here going through? Ryan Sandberg of Quebec fame. Tim Melville, he's an indie ball guy. Same thing with David Griffin. He's a long-time indie ball guy. Noah Clenny. Actually, there's a lot of former Gary Railcats on this team. Now. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how this plays out. Brad Case, I believe Brad was a Quebec guy, if I'm not mistaken. I have to do the quick baseball reference on him, but I think he is. So, and then Ivan Castillo's been around for a minute, but like, there's a lot of decent names out here. There's not really too many former major league guys like Melville and Beer, but like outside of that, not too many. A lot of indie ball guys here, and they're not overpowering. And being that they've kind of been mid the last like half decade, really, it's like
it feels weird to even say, but yeah.
Honestly, it's kind of like the Jimmy Garoppolo 49ers, right? Where like the Montana and Young Niners, you don't like them. They win a lot. But then you get to the Garoppolo ones, they had some lean years in there, weren't doing so great. And now it's like, you know what? These guys are kind of likable.
All right, I can reach that. I can meet you there.
That's almost it, where it's like, you're never really going to like this team, but as far as getting there, like, this is probably about as close as you're going to get.
It's probably fair-ish. I'm just looking at... what I was looking at is something I've been looking at actually for a minute, which is how many appearances Scott Angler is going to make for the Stormers, which is random. I was digging in to see, do the Stormers have any weaknesses here that are primed to be exposed? I mean, kind of, but I mean, for the most part, they're solid. But Scott Angler now, 54 appearances so far this season at 2.02 ERA. Woo! That'll work.
Also, Brad Case is not the case I was thinking of. I was on the wrong case.
Ooh.
Any event, the last point I do want to make on Long Island is something that you brought up at the very beginning, which is bounce back year for Lou Ford. This is something we're not talking enough about, is that Lou Ford really starting to look like he's feeling comfortable managing.
Yeah. This has seemed pretty, I don't know, pretty much what I feel like we expected from a Lou Ford team.
Yeah.
And he seems to be, much more settled in. There's so much figuring out how you want to do things the first year. Like, obviously he's been around. He's been, he knows. It's not like he was like, oh, what's indie ball? How does an organization run? How does the coaching staff work? He was on the Long Island coaching staff, but it is like, all right, now I'm making decisions. What can this look like compared to how it has been? And then getting everybody adapted to that and operating in the way that you want. So it's not, if you're bringing your own gears to the machine, you got to make sure that there's, equipment around it to fit those gears.
Yeah. I'm trying to think where else I want to go to in the Atlantic League. Obviously, we already know York and High Point are in, so I don't really care about what they're doing at the moment. And then, like, Charleston, Staten Island, they're moot point. Southern Maryland's kind of a moot point. Obviously, Hagerson's been a moot point since about mid-May. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. It's really just like, can Gastonia hold on?
Yeah.
Can the Ducks catch Lancaster? I mean, they're two back of them, but it's just a situation where I'm like, neither team's really playing good right now. And second half, I'm always going to defer to Lancaster.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think anyone would argue with that. And I mean, nobody is really, I think Long Island is kind of going for it, but I think Long Island is falling a little bit short in the necessary construction at this point. I don't know. Maybe not. I got to take a better look at it maybe, but I'm trying to look at Gastonia too. Like, what is it that they really need to do to fix this? I mean, and fix this is a little aggressive for the situation, but like to lock this in and like start to focus on playoffs rather than fighting for their life every night. 6 games against Charleston should help. They tend to beat them up.
Was it most of the league this year?
And 3 games against Hagerstown. Talk about getting beat up by most of the league. So I do think Gastonia is rolling, but I don't know. High Point is going to be so set up to deal with them. It's going to be interesting.
I mean, I kind of figured High Point was going to take to some raw talent anyway.
Yeah, we felt that with High Point before, though. The High Point's not necessarily seeing the issues we've seen before with losing players.
High Point screams to me a lose in the finals type of game or type of team.
Yeah, they finally, they're back, and then it goes badly. I mean, the last time they're in there, they got just absolutely swept by Lancaster. And so they're going to be wanting to do more than that. I could see them doing more than that, but it's like all for naught type of thing. Just not even talking about who they're playing, but just, the vibe of like how the season goes.
There's a really good thing about this here, which is that we don't really have a rings type culture in indie ball. Because if we did, man, would we talk about that one championship that Jamie Keefe has lifting the world like Atlas?
There's something to that.
I'm not going to sit here and slander Jamie Keefe because he is a successful manager. Frankly, he's better than probably all but about 5 or 6 managers in the game at the moment. And that's pretty much where it begins and ends. I'm just saying, for a guy that wins a lot in the regular season, he seems to have a Michael Schlatt effect going on here, where it's like 1 ring.
Yeah, right.
Now, I chalk that up more to when you're dealing with best of 3 and best of 5 series. It really is more like who's hot, who's healthy, and who's lucky.
Well, yeah, because
you need 2 or 3 to get that done.
Yeah, I agree. That best of 3 series is just inviting trouble. No matter what league you're in.
Yeah, if you're hot and you're healthy, you can overcome being unlucky. If you're lucky and you're healthy, you can overcome being cold. If you're lucky and you're hot, then you can overcome injuries.
I mean, this sounds like a survival guide, frankly.
I mean, pretty much is that not it? But any other thoughts on the Atlantic, or do we want to talk quickly some Pioneer League races, which have now wrapped up?
Yeah, sort of very suddenly.
Yeah.
Let's talk Pioneer. Why not?
Okay.
We'll play it. We're in that part of the season where it's like we're playing Atlantic talk common because they're going to be last league running.
Yeah.
So,
so Pioneer League, we do have an idea of the teams. We just need to figure out who's playing who. Oakland, Missoula were obviously already in. They're going to win the second half as well. So it's going to open up 2 wild cards. Those wild cards now will be going to Idaho Falls, the Shuckers, and the Ogden Raptors. 2 of the more popular social media teams for their unique presence, which I like. Idaho Falls shooting at my 1 August review post and then going, oh, wait, that's just August. Our bad. They got the record wrong. They're like, actually, it's different now. And it's like, oh, wait, it was just the August record. Never mind.
I do appreciate just being like, whoops.
Yeah. Immediately after, like within 15 seconds, too. I was just like, I appreciate you not deleting the tweet and just doing
I know, right? Being like, all right, I said it publicly, I'll take it back publicly.
Yeah. So we have that. We're just figuring out if Ogden's going to jump up to the 3 spot or if they're going to stay in the 4th spot. If they stay in the 4th spot, I believe it's Oakland they're going to have.
It feels weird to be like, are we rooting to go play Missoula?
Are we rooting for travel?
I mean, I feel like Oakland's a lose-lose, right? Because you got the travel and you got to play Oakland.
And you got to stay in Oakland.
Look, man, Oakland's been good to me. I got to run the numbers and see how my fantasy team's doing actually at this point because I'm in the championship this week, rather.
So, yes, this is the Pioneer League race to bring us back on to topic here.
To real baseball, not fantasy baseball?
I know.
Wow.
But, yeah, so Oakland and Missoula are in. Presumably, Idaho Falls will get Missoula. Ogden will get Oakland. So we'll have the Battle of the O's and then the Battles of the Mountains.
The O's.
Oceans and mountains. That's what we're dealing with here. So, yes, that is the situation there in the Pioneer.
Now that is a retreat name. Anyway.
The only other thing Pioneer League-wise.
No, Oceans and Mountains is like just the name of every Hillsong United song. I'm not even going to get into it. We're just going to say that. And there's going to be a sizable portion of our audience that gets that because it's baseball. And then we're going to continue on.
Okay.
Shout Gare Granites.
I'm not going to ask or bring the submariner into this, but okay. Yeah, so like the only interesting part of the Pioneer League, at least that we haven't touched on, would be this Yuba situation in that they really were supposed to be a playoff team.
Yeah, that one's the South.
They certainly did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bad look for everybody involved.
So
dude, it's a tough scene because of the way it happened too. If it was a gradual thing, if it was like dropping a game, here and there, it would just
run against Oakland.
Absolutely getting run off the field by Oakland for 2 straight weeks is like, oh my God.
Yeah, not getting ran off the field by your rival that you most certainly do not like for 14 straight.
That's crazy.
It's like, how do you not just that breaks a team? Genuinely, it breaks the team. And knowing that they broke you makes it worse.
It's so much worse. Yeah, man. It's just the most painful way that could have gone.
Oh, yeah. Like, I do want to start getting into doing like team autopsies at some point.
Yeah.
And that Yuba one's going to be fun to do.
Well, I think part of the issue too is like last year Oakland put up numbers, but then like when Yo at the time played them, like they handled them. And then like, I think they struggled in their first series or something. And then like Yolo made a couple moves that were very specific to like shaking things up against Oakland, and it went really well. I think part of the issue was by the time they realized the full monster in the closet, it was too far left to travel and too much of a gap to like start to catch up to what that was. And it's one thing when it's just, a gap in the standings, but when it's you're head to head 18 times or whatever, it's like, dude,
Yeah.
But it's going to be painful. And I think it sort of starts and ends with that.
Oh, yeah. Like that's.
And also this Oakland team very much took a page out of what Yolo did last year, because it was a really strong back end of the bullpen that's faltered a little bit of late, and that's a conversation we'll have as we playoff preview a little bit. But a solid offense, a good group of starting pitchers, but then a really dangerous bullpen, and they just kind of out YOLO'd Yolo a little bit on this one, and well, out YOLO'd Yuba, I guess.
Yeah. On that note, though, how do we think this kind of stacks up, each of the 4 against each other? We don't know matchups right now, but it's going to start next week. I feel like a 70-win Oakland team
has to be favored, man.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be the go-to pick here. I mean, as I said, Missoula only played them for 3 games. They did take 2 out of 3.
It's such a small sample.
I know, but it means they can at least compete. So we'll see about it. It's going to be really hard to beat them, but Missoula is really good too. They have a really good record, and they've done it before. I do like it's 2 teams that are very much geared toward the championship, and this is like what they're trying to do. It's not, that is a priority for the organization, to say. And that we're actually seeing them, get to make a playoff run, get to battle throughout the year, and then potentially play each other. I think because it's the Pioneer, they get a strong likelihood that we see Ogden and Idaho Falls in the championship as well.
Yeah, I do think to a degree there is a certain balance across the board on all of it. Mm-hmm. Ogden seems to be a team too that kind of can, when they get turned up, they seem to show up.
Yeah, yeah.
Idaho Falls is still a very shaky team in my eyes. Like, it feels like they're a peaks and valleys team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that their peaks are very high. We saw that in the first half. They were top 3 team for a good couple of weeks there.
Yeah.
And even overall standings, they're obviously, the 3rd best team. That's why they got the wild card spot. But in spite of that, even though when they're doing really good, they're in the same league as Missoula is. But it's just when they're doing badly, it does feel like to a degree it bottoms out.
I would say part of what makes Oakland great, and I'm going to bring us back to your point. I'm not just. I hate sometimes I'll try to bring something around. It sounds like I just straight up wasn't listening, so I start talking about another team. I think what makes Oakland great, and to an extent also Missoula as good as they are, is the ability in the Pioneer League where things can escalate quickly and you can burn a lot of pitching one day and it creates a mess the next day. Is their lows are not very low. Their highs are really high, especially Oakland. Their lows are not very low, and that's day to day and also within games. So I do think like Oakland had like a couple losses that were like crazy bad losses, like Rocky Mountain of all teams. And then they bounced right back the next day, things like that. They didn't let it carry over. Idaho Falls does seem to have a lot of those moments where it really spirals on them a bit. And you can kind of see it building almost. And you're like, this could be a long week. And, I think as long as that doesn't happen in the playoffs, they should be fine. But there is also that chance that they could just completely melt down, and that I don't think some of the other teams have, specifically Missoula and Oakland.
Missoula, my concern is the same as it always is, which is just their postseason track record isn't very strong.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
So like that's really like each team there has their own kind of unique concern there. Oakland with half the guys worn themselves out to get to this point. Missoula, the track record. Idaho Falls, the which team is going to show up. And then Ogden's just kind of, I view as the definitive fourth team, right? Like, notably, if they play their best, they're going to struggle against all three teams in front of them. They can still win. It's just going to be a bit of a struggle. But, I mean, you got to believe in Tat Daddy, so.
Right. And Ogden, Idaho Falls in particular, is a really explosive offense. I mean, they've cashed in on bad teams a lot, but it is something to note. And they can really get it cooking. They do tend to have funky stretches against good teams. I think that's noteworthy, by the way. But they did just play Ogden and put up, I want to say it was like 25 or 26 runs on them in 3 games. So they can show up. If you're them, also the encouraging thing, and who knows what Missoula was kind of showing them, but they did just split 6 with Missoula as well, scoring double digits a couple times on them, I think. So yeah, that's something. It's just so tough, and again, this is my Pioneer League pet peeve. It's really hard to be like, oh, here's what the numbers look like when you score 1,000 runs in 12 games against Great Falls or whatever. It's like, Jesus. I mean, it's the same Idaho Falls team that lost 5 of 6 to Great Falls at one point. So who knows? That's a low for you, by the way, backing up my point from earlier.
Exactly. And it just seems like an interesting makeup right now. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, Oakland's going to wind up getting Ogden and Missoula is going to get Idaho Falls. Is there any preference or any championship prediction that you have to make there? Not for a winner, but just who would come out in those series?
I gotta say Oakland, Missoula. I just haven't seen enough. I haven't seen enough to make me think that wouldn't be the case.
I've got Oakland, Idaho Falls, to be quite honest, and I'm just more or less leaning on the track record thing. It looms heavy in my mind. Although getting Alfredo Villa back from Ottawa is very nice for the Paddleheads too.
I mean, yeah. The offense for Idaho Falls it's something that goes back to. Trevor Rogers still just doing his thing. Yeah, there's a lot of really good offensive weapons for them, but again, I don't know. Yeah, that could work out for them, honestly, playing associated with Missoula. Idaho Falls is a tough matchup for Missoula, I'll tell you.
See, that's the more interesting. Now, if one's being Ogden, Missoula.
I like Missoula over Ogden in that matchup. I think Idaho Falls is definitely closer.
Yeah. That's like, I feel like everyone is very clear in their spot. Like, Oakland's very clearly the 1. Missoula's very clearly the 2. Idaho Falls clearly the 3, and Ogden the 4. It just kind of feels like, and honestly, to a degree, I almost feel bad that we didn't get a chance to see Billings in this over in Ogden, solely because of the hot streak they're on. The records are pretty much the same in the second half. The game difference, I could care less about it. But the fact that Billings was riding, a 9-game heater prior to tonight?
Yeah.
He's kind of a milkman situation.
Yeah, fair. It might have at least just been the right team at the right time. They could have made a run.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get you. Okay.
Not necessarily saying they would have beat up on any of the top two, but still, would have been interesting.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It would have been compelling.
Exactly. And that's really the point of all of this, to be interesting.
Don't make me get the slog to rigor mortis kind of monologue out.
If we're done with the Pioneer League, I suppose we could actually talk about postseason baseball.
Yeah, might as well, man.
All right, then let's talk about some of the postseason baseball. Let's go American Association first, because I'll have more to say on the Frontier. A series finished and 3 extended in the American Association, the more competitive of the 2 leagues that are in the postseason as of right now. Yeah, so Chicago, looking at them, they go ahead, they shut out Lake Country tonight. They beat them yesterday night or 2 nights ago to claim the quarter or challenge round. Are we calling it quarterfinal? What are we calling this first?
Quarterfinal. What are we talking about?
Okay. To claim the quarterfinal crown, they'll get the winner of Milwaukee and King County. Immediate takeaways from that series.
Oh man, Lake Country really fell off during the year. Like we've talked a lot about how we don't really believe in Lake Country, but like they were better than this until recently. And yeah, man, it is. Yeah, that team, the fall off is noteworthy, and it's kind of a shame. Especially how that division where like they were really the only thing the division had going for a minute. And like you could argue, was their record inflated by playing their division rivals, which were not very good, but it is, and maybe it's a false sense of security. We've seen teams before have a good run like that and then not really add in positions we need to add. So maybe there's some of that, but yeah, just disappointing. And Chicago on their end is hot at the right time. They have, an offense is looking like they're going to be difficult to slow down. I felt like Lake Country put together a pretty good pitching performance on Friday. I mean, they had a solid outing out of Jacob Nix. Struggled a little bit, wasn't overpowering, but he's put numbers.
Get it done.
Yeah, and they still managed to score 4 off of him, or not off of him.
3.
They got 1 on him, 3 total. And then get it done. Like, and it's just finding a way, and that's sort of what it takes a lot of these games. Yeah, but again, it's not surprising when you look at the makeup of the lineup. Like Kuziak, Williams, Teeter, Hopkins, Cisco, Stroop. Like it all makes sense that this would be a nightmare necessarily to deal with. I mean, Trip Clark put up good numbers in limited work this year with Dogs at least. Wow, I forgot he's played for 3 teams in the American this year. Kind of funny. Yeah, man, they're pushing the pace on the base a little bit too, which is fun, and I think it's a good way to go about it. It's just not letting pitchers get comfortable. So, yeah, I think the strategy is really good right now. I think the rosters really come together in a way that's really good. They've made intelligent additions, and they especially for Lake Country, when it comes to Lake Country's weak points, they had a good combination of assembly of a team and usage of a team that just really leaned into the weaker points that Lake Country had, and I think that a lot of other teams at this level have. So, yeah, I think they are dangerous. These Dogs are dangerous.
See, I'm not necessarily sure if they're dangerous, though I will say it's kind of funny watching your season fall apart in less time than it takes to watch Wicked. But to the point on Lake Country, I just think they're a weaker team. I think it was a team that ran out of steam, wasn't there mentally, whatever it may be. As a group, they just didn't have it. I always was looking at the series, and I know I recorded the bonus pod and had the one playoff preview up, so I talked a little bit about it, but Lake Country never really felt like that strong of a unit to me. Like, you look at this lineup, and there's guys like Hernandez that stand out, but outside of them, nothing really is that spectacular, that standoutish. Chicago had the higher end talent, and at points in the year, they were truly a dominant force. Now, it was only for about 10-day stretches, and we only saw it 2 or 3 times, but they were an overwhelming force. It's just, again, almost like an Idaho Falls situation, their valleys were kind of deep, and they would lose some games where you're just like, what the hell was that?
That's fair.
And not even getting to the off the field situation that is Chicago, and clearly does have an effect on some guys. not everyone, but some, is a better group just as a whole. The upper end talent is there. The overall construction of the lineup seems to be better. I just think it's a weaker overall unit on that Lake Country side.
On that Lake Country side?
Yeah, it's a weaker unit. I think Chicago's
weaker. Yeah, I don't know why I thought you said stronger. It faded a little bit on me, and I was like,
okay.
No, I think that's a fair assessment. And as I said, I think part of it too was, despite that, while they were getting results, I think that covered a lot of the weaknesses in this team when there was an opportunity to actually make some additional changes and some moves to really sort of prep it, which is a shame, especially on a team that for so long, it was so telegraphed, like a month into the season, we're like, all right, Lake Country's probably going to the playoffs then. Just in what seed? I think all of that is pretty on point, really. When it comes down to it, I mean, as said, they have some good pitching. The pitching really struggled on Wednesday night. I keep forgetting which days. The off day in the middle of the week is throwing me. Really struggled, Thursday, and that was kind of disheartening. And seeing some, good pitchers go to waste. I wonder mentally where that plays, especially when it's Lake Country. There's also a mental factor of this too, right? They knew for so long that they were going to be going to the playoffs. They had months seemingly to set up this pitching staff. And then, 3 innings into this, they've given up 7 runs. They just had a 5-run inning to take the lead, and then they gave it right back. That's a hard one to bounce back from.
Yeah. And then you get walked off.
Yeah. It's just brutal.
Yeah. And I don't even so much blame the pitching staff as much as I blame the offense, especially in a game 2 here, where it's a must-win game. It's a win or go home game. You must have 2 hits against the starter, 3 in total.
Can't have it. Yeah.
Yeah. How many base runners you got? 5 in that game? 6?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough situation to be in. You got to produce more offense here. And I mean, a constant theme across the board at least in the Frontier League for elimination games today was either really good pitching or really bad offense, whatever you want to call it. But you can't show up like this. You can't have more strikeouts than base runners, tell you that much. Exactly. So it's a tough situation for the Doghounds there. We'll go into more depth about their season, what went right, what went wrong later on. But the Dogs will advance. Milwaukee or King County will get them. That is a more interesting series in my eyes. Mm-hmm. Milwaukee comes out, drops a close 2-1 game in game 1 at home. They go on the road. They wax the Cougars 12-zip. We have the final game tonight. I leaned Milwaukee. I'm not sure if anybody else in the little bracket challenge we're doing leaned Milwaukee. I really buy into the hot team theory, and if the offensive effort tonight is any indication, it does seem to be holding some weight, although I'm curious to know at what point this got deemed unwinnable and someone got thrown in there to die, and Weston Murr was the guy that got thrown in to die for 4 innings.
Now, there's another thing here which it brings me to let's see how this plays out type of thing. Now, and I want to give you a point, and I want to immediately roll it right back on myself because I'm going to disagree with myself. So bear with me on this roller coaster ride. My concern for Milwaukee's sake is what the King County pitching staff has done to them thus far. Okay. Because Connor Ash, if the 12-run game tonight is anything, it is an endorsement of how good Connor Ash is. Because he was electric on his start for King County in game 1. Then it was Crosby and Gazzo who came in and went 7 up, 7 down, 7 strikeouts in relief for King County. So gross. Then today's game, the blowout, they really jumped over Western Muir. But even then, late game, I'm sure they took it off the gas, but Stevenson came in through 3 2/3, only gave up 1 run. And then Weston Muir got shelled. But for the most part, it's they haven't really gotten that bullpen. On the flip side, however, King County also has not touched Milwaukee's bullpen. So Milwaukee's thrown 8 scoreless innings so far in relief. So that will play as well.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't get a hit off the bullpen tonight.
Right. And both these things lead me to believe, by the way, these teams could be dangerous, because I do think having a good late inning presence is really important in the American Association when you're in a series like that, where it's the ability to just shut it down and make it a 7-inning game and not continue to drag dudes out of the bullpen to try to like connect the dots to get to through 9 innings and leave yourself short the next day.
Chris Mazza not having anything today really hurt.
Weird.
He's 6 guys, 5 hits, and 3 runs. Like, bad scene.
It almost made me wonder if he's okay.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was so odd because his prior starts, right, if we backtrack, were 6 innings against Chicago, 2 earned, 7 1/3 scoreless, 4 scoreless. And what was this one, the 12th? Sorry, I didn't back research this. I didn't expect it to be a disaster.
Lake Country again.
2 innings against Lake Country, but he pitched fine. It was a 7-inning game. So I don't know. But I'm not sure what was going on there. Might just need a bullpen game of sorts, and they had him go. That was his first game back from injury. That's what it was, because he was gone for like a month.
Yeah.
So I wonder. It's just so strange because my main take is you're up a game. Walk through this with me. You're up 1-0 in the series, right?
Yeah.
You have game 3, like if you need it. For him to go into this first game or this first inning and go, oh my God, why can't I pull it up? I keep closing windows and going, nope, I actually need that. To start this game and go double, single, and then an out, and then a single, and then get removed. I think that's crazy. Like, I'm sorry. I think that's a wild decision. Like, I get it's only 3 runs, and you're like, we're still in this. But it's like, you're still in this. Yeah, okay, the top 5 out of, the top 5 guys, or 5 of the 6 got on. But, like, they've gone from doubles to singles now. And okay, even so, do we want to get into a situation out where, and again, you have extra starters around because you don't have it's only a 3-game series, but do we want to use 8 innings of relief pitchers and backup starting pitchers when we have now of quite likely game 3 coming? And I get managers tend to, you don't manage for the next day, but might I suggest thinking about it? That would be my take, and I wonder if Miles is okay. I hope he is, because he did have that time he missed earlier in the year. And I wonder if they saw something and they didn't like it. I wonder if they felt like he was tipping pitches and they were like pretty confident it was only going to get worse. But it's just so weird to take 6 batters and just be like, seen enough, fully. Already had a guy ready. I mean, you figure after 3 or 4 of those batters, it's interesting to me.
Unless the plan was always to get him out early, like only have him go 2 innings, in which case then you already have a guy that you're like, okay, like, you're going to be going to him early on.
Yeah, ready to get hot.
Yeah. And so, like, after double out, or double single out, single?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, after the second double, you're like, all right, calm down. And then
I know, but that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pitches in, which I guess, I mean, the 7 pitch at bat doesn't bode well necessarily, but I don't know. I think that's interesting. I'd be curious to learn more about that decision.
Well, back to the big picture here.
Right.
We're going to a game 3 situation here.
Yeah.
I lean more Milwaukee. Even the game you lose, it was tight.
Got momentum. Yeah.
Yeah, like, again, like I said, healthy, hot, lucky. Right now, they're hot. They just need either lucky or healthy.
Right.
And being that you're not going to get Connor Ash again.
Yeah, I did run the numbers. I mean, Milwaukee comes in with a 51. Nope. It was close. It was right around the 50-50 mark, because every series in the American Association seemingly is.
I mean, that bodes well for the postseason balance, though.
Oh yeah, it's a go. As I said, I'm excited about the American Association postseason. I feel like we mostly could have fast forwarded the Frontier League stuff, even though Washington's interesting, but we'll get there. Let me see if I can actually find it though and give you some detail, because I specifically ran the numbers for this one for this point, and then I completely forgot what this said. Classic ran. Yeah, so game 3. Actually it was 52% in favor of Kane County.
I can see that over a large sample.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the thing. And like I said it in the, I believe, association preview, where I go through a bit of the ranking on where they stand throughout the year, like, oh, they're 10th in this, they're 12th in that kind of thing. And I said, I don't really trust that number because it doesn't really take into account the way they finished the year. It doesn't really take all that much into it because you have, 2 months of pretty mid to shit baseball. Where we're openly going, like, Broome won't get fired because if they do, they're making a mistake. But we have to talk about the roster construction over the last couple of years because it's just not up to par.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you got to be like, well, was he a ABW merchant? And then they got really hot. And I was like, well, I mean, realistically, it's such a crap division that why shouldn't a hot team win it?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot to. I mean, Kane County last year.
Exactly. Now,
look no further.
Well, and the only counter I'd have to that is Kane was at least a really solid pitching throughout the year, like really solid pitching team throughout the year, and that kept up and honestly improved throughout the postseason run.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
but also kind of the same.
I mean, they're similar. I'll give you that, but give it a take here. I just lean Milwaukee in an elimination game.
Yeah, man, I'm really torn between it.
Any of that. We continue on. We have another 2 to look at in the association, and the Frontier should go fairly quickly.
Please. Begging.
The Sioux are up next year, and really, for a good bit tonight, it did look like the Explorers were about to close this thing out.
Yeah.
Really?
It did. It did, didn't it?
They go into the 7th. They're up, 3 runs at that point?
Something like that.
And then it kind of goes to shit. And then you're like, okay, so it's not good. They're down by 1 now. They get nothing in the bottom of the 7th, but you're like, okay, well, you hold them here. You have 8, you have 9, make something happen. And then a 10-piece gets dropped on you in the 8th. And it's just...
Dude, they threw 5 relievers for a total of 6 outs.
Good news is those guys should all be available.
Bad news is they're all available.
But it's a tough scene, man. This is...
A 10 spot in the 7th is insane.
Everybody used a lot of pitchers tonight. I mean, let's not give Sioux Falls a pass here. They
threw 8 guys, yeah, but also with more success. That was more like navigating rather than trying to find somebody who could get an out.
Well, I mean, they also started navigating because Normandy had a rare bad start.
Yeah, dude, that's terrible timing. Though, okay, so that was my take, and I wish I said it out loud. I should have, and I didn't. I smelled this one coming for Dormany. He's been not the same pitcher the last month. Since his 7 shutouts with Winnipeg, he went 5 innings, 6 earned at Lincoln of all teams, 3 earned over 6 with Cleburne, 4 earned in 3 innings with Sioux City, 2 earned in 6 with Fargo, but he kind of labored through that one, only 2 strikeouts. He had 3 strikeouts in his prior 9 innings before coming into this, after having, 6 or 7 strikeouts per 9 before. It was starting, something was not running the same way. His control was bad. He was getting hit. Yeah, I think this was definitely coming. In fact, when I did the math, like if I was the one making decisions on that, which I'm not, thankfully for everybody, I would have thrown him as my 3rd guy. Honestly, I had him between behind Brown and Zimmerman
in an elimination game.
I would have held him, and then maybe, because part of my theory too is he threw a lot of those late innings, like going deep into games. And he threw a lot of innings. I was like, maybe he just needs extra rest to hold him for game 3, and then that can also turn to game 1 next round, potentially, if you make it through, or have him as an emergency guy if you need. But relying on him made me a little bit anxious after what we'd seen in just recent outings. And I hate to say that because I like Tom and he's had such an impressive year, but it's something is not working the same way. I guess Zimmerman's going game 3, by the way. Really funny. His continued crazy season.
Comeback player of the year, really.
It has to be, right?
Which, ironically, is not one of the many different awards the American Association has.
Yeah, right.
It's just very odd for me with this Sioux City team. They had a shutout the night before. Kyle Marmon just mowed down the Canaries lineup. Jesse, who's now pitched in 2 straight games, got the job done in game 1, and then Cepeda got the job done. Obviously didn't go tonight. They saved their big number arm, and then it seemed like at some point in the 8th they said, all right, plan for tomorrow. So
yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, that's how you got to do it. I'm more encouraged by the fact that you have 13 runs across 2 games. I'm going to choose to ignore the 10-run burst here because, again, at certain points, like, okay, well, we're playing for another day. And even still, it's 13 runs to 16 runs if you include everything. So fairly even there. I am very curious to see how this one plays out for this next game 3. To keep the pace without too much detail here, where are we leaning here?
I think I'm leaning Sioux Falls as well. Zimmerman has like a 2.8 ERA against Sioux City this year when he's pitching for the Canaries. And I don't know if Sioux City's going to throw. I think Otano, and I'm like, I'm going to say buy what Otano's selling right now.
See, I was going Explorers on this. I think they're still a better team overall.
Interesting.
A bad 2 innings does not deter me from the rest of the body of work.
I get it. And I mean, honestly, from my perspective, I picked Sioux City in this series, but in my numbers, it kind of said, like, if this thing goes 3, it's not good news for Sioux City. They just don't have the depth. I don't think that Sioux Falls has. And it takes a lot of depth to hold down that Sioux Falls offense. I think we're going to start to see that. So, yeah, that's my take.
I could care less about the matchups here. I just kind of think it's more.
Otano's not even on the roster, so I have no idea who they're throwing tomorrow.
It's still fairly irrelevant to me. Most of those guys are still going to be fine to go. They didn't throw that much, and it's an elimination game. All hands are on deck anyway, so they just need to give you an inning. And I think they're still capable of doing that. You switch them out every inning, they'll be fine. Like I said, I think the offense is showing up enough for Sioux City. And I just refuse to believe they're going to have 2 really bad pitching games back to back. And I don't know what it was that sent everything to hell in the 7th inning. I don't know if someone was tipping. I don't know if they have a trash can system for the Canaries now. I don't have any idea what's going on with that, but it's 2 innings. I'm not overreading it. Up until then, we thought that the Explorers were going to be cruising to a victory and that we'd have another series to wrap up here. But obviously that didn't happen. I think it's going to happen in the face of Sioux City finishing off the Canaries.
I am not overly sold on it, but I do think I'm going Sioux Falls. And that kills me because I believe because I did take Sioux City in the bracket, and I think I don't know how that's going to age for me. But that said, by the way, when I ran the numbers, though it was with a slightly different pitching matchup, it was 50.1%, I think, for Sioux Falls to win a game 3. So, again, another coin flip in the American.
Going to the last one, we have Fargo and Kansas City. They just played a marathon of a game, went 15 innings, and only for a pass ball or wild pitch, however you want to score it, doesn't really make a tangible difference in the end because the result's still the same. To be what walks off the Red Hawks sends us to a 3rd game. Monarchs Red Hawks series so far. Is it living up to the hype?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. It's been fun. We felt like this was going to be something with like some good pitching and it's going to be close and it's going to be Fargo and Kansas City always has a bit of that edge to it. You got guys arguing. We got trash cans being thrown. We've got all sorts of crazy stuff happening.
I'm so bumped.
umps getting bumped. Certainly suspensions coming on that. So yeah, man, we're out here doing it.
Yeah, which I guess we should be discussing that bit here. Yeah, I mean, you can't be touching an umpire regardless of the situation there.
In
Already,
the playoffs, man.
I know, and already
Situational awareness,
move.
boys.
Yeah, and bonehead move by Glendenning while we're at it to flip his bat at the ump. That was ejection worthy off the bat.
Yeah, tough.
Coincidentally,
though when you described it to me as flipping the bat at the ump, I did expect something a little bit more than what I saw, but I get it.
It's still enough to where if an ump wants to eject you, it's going to be like, in a playoff game.
Easy enough, yeah.
Yeah, but it's also going to be like, you shouldn't put yourself in that position. Especially in a game where it's that tight and you're performing, you owe it to your team to stay in the game. Likewise, the whole root cause of that incident, and this is from game 2, we're talking, that led to the trash can being thrown, ump being bumped, and all hell breaking loose. I get it. You believe that ball is foul, but why are you still not running down the line? Like, it's clearly a close enough play to where they're letting this play out. You know, like,
yeah, I can't. There's so many things there that make me go, what are we doing? That play is very close to the point where we replayed it over and over again. I'm tempted to say, and I can't see it, but I'm guessing they felt it was foul as it passed the bag. That can only be the argument that they're making.
Which, just for
but that's what I tell from our angle.
Yeah, just for the context here, the play in question comes about midway through the game. There's a chopper hit third base side. It's hard to tell in the broadcast where this ball is in relation to the bag, and it's foul or fair territory here. Clearly, Kansas City believed the ball to be foul. They were batting at the point. Fargo played as though it was a fair ball. They doubled up Kansas City, ended the inning, ended the threat. You could kind of guess what ensued from there. And the main takeaway here is, as Ryan just said, we looked this thing over. We went through screenshots going down to like every other frame to see where this ball is fielded. And maybe it's just because the broadcast doesn't have a good angle, but it's damn close. Close enough to the point where I understand why you're heated in an elimination game over this kind of a thing. However, it really is a go either way type call. Unless as a batter, you see it in your mind, you're very clear like this is a foul ball. There's no reason to not like that out.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is a big situational awareness thing. It's just, even with the call being questionable, it is understanding you got to run it out and you cannot get tossed. And everybody knows where the line is on that. So yeah, it's just, and unless it's an show situation, which this way in this moment, most umps don't want to toss you in a playoff game, because also that tends to require then a follow-up conversation with the league that umps don't love to have unless they love themselves so much that they think everybody should talk to them.
Yeah, and I mean, even after the initial like bat toss flip thing, he wasn't gunning him for that. You could tell he didn't have any real desire to. No one's getting gunned until you start getting in his face and you're bumping him, which in fairness, I don't believe was Glendenning that bumped him. That
was the other thing I was super surprised about, was the lack of immediately getting tossed after the bat flip. I was surprised to see him turn. I was like, maybe I missed it, and I replayed it, and I was like, no, okay, all right.
Yeah, and so then you respond not only by, like I said, getting in ump's faces, you throw a trash can on the field. Like, I have to have a feeling that.
And that trash can came out fast, by the way.
Yeah.
Because when I heard that part, because I missed this piece of the game, so I'm getting it from you, and then we're going back and looking at the when you said, "Oh yeah," and then I pictured he gets tossed, yelling, people are getting ejected, go back into the dugout, trash can out in the field. I didn't expect call happens, arguing happens, trash can on field like immediately.
Yeah, it happened in quick succession.
Like, it was fast enough that I was like, did you already have that in your hands?
Yeah, like it all goes down in about 30 seconds. It goes from play occurring to
To
guys on
trash
the
can
field.
field. It was
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, it's like they were looking for something to be set off by, almost.
Right. So it's just very confusing.
And this feels like they're going to be getting a call from a Josh at the league. Now, whether it's Schaub or
Oh,
Buchholz is a question, but
yeah,
there's going to be a phone call about this, and there's going to be suspensions
absolutely.
from this. And now you just
Has to.
shorthanded your team in a Game 3 situation, so congratulations.
Yeah, not to mention the amount of time you missed because this game went on forever.
A real high IQ baseball play there. And I get it, like, if you think you're being screwed, you're gonna lash out at it. But there's sometimes you just gotta sit there and take it, even if you are being screwed, especially as a player. That's the kind of thing you let the coaching staff handle, because if a coach gets tossed, you can overcome that a lot easier than a player getting tossed, especially in a 15 inning game that resulted in a combined total of how many hits?
That would be
17.
Ooh. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the hit column was messed up for me because the game went so long that it's hiding behind the Monarchs logo on the website.
Yeah, you got to just scroll down and add it up from the
from the pitching, like a peasant doing my own math.
Yeah,
17 is insane.
So we're averaging about a hit an inning. That's between both teams. And you think,
oh my God, hold on. The teams hit a combined 162 today. I like to think it's good pitching, but if I'm honest, I think both these teams could have trouble in next round offensively.
Probably both. Plus, being 63 degrees in Kansas City's got to be fun for first pitch time. So we start getting cold.
Yeah, man.
Just going off for 5.
Some of you want Kansas to have the championship race. Sorry, I'm back on NASCAR again.
But yeah, so the main point is it's a back, although it's probably warmer than Fargo. So that's a
Fargo. Yeah, true.
It's just kind of amazing that it took us 9 innings between runs. It was the same amount. But yes, either way, it's been a good series. Yeah, there's been some chicanery going on. We go to Game 3 here, the last matchup in the association here, probably the one I think we're all going to be watching. Thoughts on that one? Do we have a lean one way or the other? I almost want to say Fargo.
My prediction for the series was Fargo wins Game 1, Kansas City takes Game 2, and then Kansas City takes Game 3. So at this point, I kind of feel like I have to stick with it. Like I'm right so far, so I kind of have to.
I almost don't want to reward this though.
My problem is, all probabilities and projection models don't account for is 15 innings worth of work for the pitching staff. So I don't really know what to make of this anymore. I'm going to go ahead. Oh God, off of vibes. And by that, I mean, who's probably fresh tomorrow. I'm going Kansas City. The fact that we don't want to reward that in this whole mess is why they probably will win.
That's fair.
Yeah. Plus, they're my championship pick, so I got to stick with them.
Yeah, I still got Sioux City. So I'm going to go Fargo because I don't really want to reward it. But if I'm being honest, probably Kansas City. I think they've had a better showing in both games. So, yes, that is the association. We go to the Frontier League now. Coincidentally, had everything wrap up in 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had a feeling we might be heading that direction when I eyed this up, but that kind of unsurprising, I guess. Not to like poo-poo any of the teams that were in. I don't want to be taken that way. I mean, I'm disappointed by the Crushers because "We're chasing greatness" was really funny in their marketing campaign.
I mean, it was a good slogan. I'll give them that, but I felt like that was like the most slam dunk of any of these that they were not getting through Schaumburg.
Oh no, they were going to get capped for sure.
Although the fact they made the Schaumburg beat him by a walk-off tonight was impressive.
I'm going to argue with you. According to the numbers, this was the closest of the Frontier League series projection-wise. Now, of course, based on how they've been doing and what this matchup was and how generally Schaumburg has been throughout the season. I could definitely see the argument. Otherwise, I think that's more of a symptom of the fact that these other series I don't think were particularly close either, though Washington losing really throws a wrench in that.
The Washington series is the one that I feel like has the most meat on the bone. I thought that was going the distance, and instead,
disappointing as hell. What the hell, Washington?
Like game 1, Gateway was close. It took them till late, but tonight was just very much Gateway from the get-go.
Yeah, it was flat.
Which is odd because you would think Washington played better at home, as they traditionally have.
Yeah.
The road loss was
and the fan base, it seems kind of keyed in that really wants it at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, they do no championships since their inaugural season.
Yeah, and they weren't even in Washington at that point.
Yeah. Brutal.
But yeah, it's just like guys weren't showing up.
Who gets a championship first? Washington Wild Things or Washington Commanders?
Washington football team.
Grass. Continue.
But like you look at the Washington offense, it just didn't show up. Guys had 3 or more at bats. 0 for 3, 1 for 5, 1 for 3, 0 for 4, 1 for 4, 0 for 3, 0 for 4. So the pinch hitting worked, but that was
really, honestly, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Weinberg set him down. 3 hits, 2 walks, 10 Ks. Like Hickey struggled a little bit in the 9th, but like, okay. At that point, it was what? A 9-1 ball game? They weren't going to waste quality arms on this and probably pissed them off. They had to bring Whaley into this to get an out. Yeah,
it's true. Well, I'm just trying to put myself back in their perspective because like Washington had a lot of fight in game 1. I mean, they had the tying run on second and the top of the lineup up. And so, you're kind of thinking it's going. Kind of like, is that, was there a letdown to that? And mentally, I don't know. I'm not going to say, I don't like saying like teams like, or inferring that team didn't try. They certainly tried. But like, when there isn't just like a pop, like there's no energy, they just come out flat. And it kind of felt like it. It felt like once they went down, there wasn't really a point where I was like, like here comes Washington.
But
and I get it was a 5-run game, but
I mean losing a close game like game 1, I mean that mentally deflates you.
Yeah, I mean this game was 9-1 till late. Like,
well, yeah, but I'm saying it was over after game 1.
That's what I'm saying too. I'm trying to wonder, like in my head, if after coming that close, feeling like you're there, and then having it, fall short, it kind of deflates you. But still, coming home is the thing. I should fix that. That sucks. Maybe part of it is, they really bet on Foster having a good outing and it just didn't come together for him. That's hard too. When you're like, all right, like, hey, we got our guy on the bump. Let's see it. And it just, he isn't the dominant guy you're looking for. Meanwhile, Weinberg's had them in hell today. 10 punchies in a playoff start. Disgusting.
I mean, even in game 1, though, they weren't really, overwhelming. Like, yeah, they got to the guy starting in Vales, but then Galliford came in and he pitched 5 really good innings. So, which good bounce back by Peguero.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a tough one. I almost wonder if you're better off rolling Rodriguez out there as a game 2 starter as opposed to a relief guy in game 1.
I don't know. I don't even know what fixes this.
I mean, that's like obviously that's an off-season question when we start doing the whole autopsy of things and whatnot, but it is kind of tough if you're Washington, right? You had one core and you felt really good about that core, and then it didn't get done, and then you kind of like audibled on the fly into a lot of these guys, and you get Quebec. Like, yeah, you won a game against Quebec, but like, let's be honest. After we saw like 2-3 games in that series, we're like, oh, this is how it's going to go.
Right.
And now you bounce back with a close loss and an ass kicking after a fairly mediocre season 2.
Playing train songmobiles, man. You're going the wrong way.
Like, I don't know what the answer to that question is. And like, they're not the only playoff team. I'm about to talk about one in New York. That's kind of the same question roster wise. Only there's, I think, a lot more work to be done with it. But it is
For
a tough
sure.
one.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I would be hesitant to fully group them together, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Might I suggest things aren't wild enough in Washington? And perhaps a little more movement and chaos. And like, I look at, I don't know, that Weinberg's outing, he was so comfortable. I'm kind of like, he just kind of coasted through that outing. It felt like 104 pitches in 7 innings, faced 27 batters, 3 hits, 2 walks. That's at 10 Ks. I mean, he was rolling. I don't even know. And I guess again, we'll do sort of the deep dive into some of these teams and what they need to do and what might have gone wrong. But I mean, they are a team that doesn't run much. I think they had less stolen bases than any team in the league, if I remember. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, there was nothing. There was no threat. And again, I think there's something to, and we've talked about this already, I think, today. It's just they apply pressure in a way that it does not allow comfortable innings. It's, a lot of high effort pitches being made. And I think that that pressure is important to maintain, especially on the Frontier League level pitching, I think. And I think they're really just letting people slide.
New York here. Honestly, the New York Quebec series, like, we knew this was going to be the outcome. We knew it was going to be in 2. I don't think anyone was ever doubting that.
I hate to be that guy.
I will say this much, though. I think New York did better than I expected from them. And like, if you just look at the scores, it doesn't really give you the correct interpretation of what happened. Like, Quebec opened up, they got not lead off, they had a home run in the top half. New York answers with leadoff hit, 2-run shot, put themselves in front. Quebec answers back next inning. Okay, fine. Then it was a little bit of a back and forth battle. Traxel settled in. He looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember right, one of the runs from that one came from just misplaying a ball, so it fell. So not what you're expecting there. Quebec got 1 run in the 5th, but like, New York got it right back in the 6th, and then they took a lead in the 7th, which admittedly, that was the moment when they only got the 1 where I was like, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. It's funny. That was the same thing I pinpointed also.
Because you have bases loaded off of some Quebec mistakes, including an error, and only 1 away, and you can only walk away with 1 run in that. That's a tough scene there. And then Quebec tags you with 4 in each of the next 2 innings to make it look like a blowout. Although admittedly, come 9, you could tell that team was defeated. Mm-hmm. That was a broken team. And, I mean, bad luck from Reeves. He was the guy to bring in that situation. 10 times out of 10, you do it. He's been hot. He's been pitching well. He just had a bad outing. I know internally I was debating, okay, instead of going to Reeves right now here in the 8th, do you try to stretch Vail for 2 innings? Because it was very clear you need to win the one in New York. If you want any prayer at this series, you need to win the one in New York. You're not taking 2 in Quebec. It's just not going to happen. So this is a must win for you. Do you put your best pitcher out there to try and get you 2? Keeping in mind, over that last weekend series where you need to win 2 games at least to make the postseason, he get through, I think, 4 innings in that one. And as a guy that's normally pitching, like 1 inning every few days, not a significant amount to factor in on that. in hindsight, maybe that's what you do, but Reeves was not the wrong call either. He's one of those guys that you should trust in that bullpen. So a tough roll of the dice there. And then you go into game 2 here where I'm less acquainted with because I was up in Sussex and unable to watch, but checking out the Point Street game live, Sanger was in it. Him and Duncan were going back and forth. And for 5 innings, he was doing really great. And even in the 6th, it was fine. It wasn't until the 7th where Quebec broke through. And then again in the 8th, they got 2 in each of them. But it's a lot closer than it appears. It's just New York, and again, it's an off-season conversation. The lineup construction wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a struggle. And you'll look at the numbers and you'll go, oh, well, they're top 5 in a lot of these categories. That's pretty good. And it's yeah, but the ballpark helps, A, and B, it only helps so much when there's not the depth there. And Agresti disappeared at the worst possible time. Dennis wasn't exactly his best. Rosso cooled off. Marte's cooked, if we're being entirely honest here. And there's a couple guys that are also in that lineup that are either just cold as ice, Genther being one of them, or we're playing kind of hurt. And not to mention, you have Kyle Hess on the bench who has a wrap on his hand, which I have been led to believe means it's broken, or at the very least fractured in some way, so he couldn't swing a bat. So you have one guy on your bench, you're shorthanded. So, you're walking to a fight, not in the best shape. But regardless of that, they didn't have the depth to hang up. And even if they did, it wasn't really going to change the outcome here. And I saw a lot of guys in that one game I was watching live, wrong mentality at the dish. A lot of guys that were trying to be the one that broke it open, the one that got it started, as opposed to just get on base, keep the line moving. There wasn't a get the line moving mentality. There was a start the line mentality.
There's a couple points there, and I think they all relate back to the same thing, which is something that I think Tri-City is better at than New York, which is going to be interesting in the next round. New York put together a good team this year, but they didn't put a good team together for beating Quebec. And in this league, in this division in particular, or this conference, whatever we're calling it, whatever, you know what the assignment is. You have to beat Quebec. It goes through Quebec. And, this was going to have to be solved at some point. And I feel like the depth thing is an obvious concern. You need depth. You need a lot of resources to pull from during a game to beat Quebec, because they're going to challenge you and kind of come at you in a way where they're not going to give away much. So you're going to have to find every opportunity. And then on the other end, I'm a believer as well that to beat Quebec, I think Quebec's weakness, if there is one, and one more thing on that, you mentioned them being a top 5 team, New York, being sort of top 5 in most offensive categories. Yeah, that's all well and good, but Quebec's a top 2 team in those categories. So it's it is just so brutal. But to the point, though, I think that Quebec, if there is a vulnerability, I think they are very traditionally constructed. And I think that's a benefit because that's very reproducible. And that's why year after year they can, switch pieces out, understand that you're going to lose guys because they age out or they move on or whatever. And they're still able year after year to build a competitive team consistently because the model doesn't really change that much because it is mostly built to deal with conventional baseball. I do think they have more vulnerability when it comes to teams that are built in a little more of an unconventional way. I think if a team does a really good job, like a full court press on base running or a power team, I think that matchup they had with New Jersey in the playoffs a couple of years ago was pretty interesting. I felt like there was a real chance for New Jersey to pull the upset there because if you remember, New Jersey was built to just absolutely crush baseballs. And I wonder to this day if things were a little different with maybe they were able to play. I think they played 2 in Quebec, and I think they actually won the one game in, I forget. I think they won the one game in Sussex. So it doesn't matter that much, but if things just played out a little bit differently on that one, I think being stretched to the max on that series by New Jersey, which they were a good team, not a team that should be taken out Quebec necessarily. I think shows that there is a weird weakness. And in that instance, it's a team that can quickly run up some offense on you because everyone has home run power. And, you get a guy on base, you're trying to get a guy warm to bring him in. And all of a sudden, oops, it's a 2 or 3 run home run. And here's the situation we're in. Things like that. And I just think there was nothing out of the box with this New York team. And when you combine the lack of depth at the end of the season here, I think they were kind of set up in a spot where this was not going to go well for them.
I could get along with that. I think the unconventional team building is the point on that. But it's that, and they just didn't have the same high end talent.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys that did have didn't show up. I mean, like, again, at the end of the day, Jason Agresti needs to perform. He didn't. He had a bad series, and he was cold going into it. A guy like Ganther needs to show up. He didn't show up. Like, there's a lot of guys there that need to show up that just didn't. And you're not going to win if the guys that are making up, your 2, 3, 4, 5 hole hitters aren't hitting. That's the heart. That is what needs to perform. If you're relying on guys in the 6, 7, 8, 9 to do most of the heavy lifting, you are setting yourself up to have your legs cut out from underneath you. And, it's a tough situation. This was never a team that really was built around pitching, so you couldn't bet on that. And so when you get a gem from Mitchell Sanger, who gives you 5 really good innings against a really good Quebec team in a really difficult situation, and then Reeves comes back and he bounces right back and he gets you through 6. And even then, to realistically still keep it a 1 swing of the bat game until the bottom of 8. As an offense, you need to produce more. And that's not to diminish Greg Duncan's work. Phenomenal. He deserves his flowers. 10 Ks, 3 hits, and 7
Greg Duncan,
crazy.
The Greg Duncan career arc is crazy.
Yeah, and he earns everything he gets. But at the end of the day, too, that lineup was not going to challenge him. Was not going to push him, and we saw it.
Yeah, man.
So, going to the last series here, and possibly the last topic here, because I think I can speak for both of us, where I'm too gassed to talk about New Jersey this week. I do have every intention of discussing it, because more and more comes out about it, more and more opinions, and after hearing some of the people after we released the episode, on top of having both of them, this more dynamic thought process I have on it, and, opinions have changed, like I said in the preamble on it. What you heard isn't necessarily what we still believe at, but I want to make sure I'm actually have a clear mind while I'm talking about it, so I don't misspeak. But Sussex and Tri-City here. Again, it's kind of a series that is both closer than it appears and also exactly as it appears. Game 1 was closer than it appeared. It looks like, it was a 5-1 ass kicking. I can't believe all that. But again, quality start from Sussex. They led for a little bit here. But Hinsey did his job for 6 innings. 2 runs, neither were earned. And then Primo comes in, gets shelled before Silva comes in and bails them out. So, again, it's unearned runs and an untested reliever that's, for being honest here, he's here because everybody else is hurt. Sussex is down badly, injury-wise, at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. They lost a lot of pitchers. They lost both their big bats, Maciel and Backstrom. And that's really what my kind of takeaway from the series is, where I do wonder if they were fully healthy, if this series looks a bit different. I think they could take at least one and scare Tri-City in another. I don't think they win this series. I think Tri-City is the better team, and I think we got the outcome we deserve. But, again, there really isn't that bad in the lineup for Sussex right now. That is truly that scary. Robbie is. He had the home run, so he has it to a degree. Dom Johnson can be, but isn't always. Giamotto can be, but isn't always. And then, a bunch of other guys that are if they're hot. But when you have 2 guys that are really contact get on base hitters and only 1 power hitter, you start to see that problem with that construction. especially against a Tri-City team that it operates more methodically.
Yeah. I'm trying. So this is embarrassing. This is the series I probably saw the least of. It was just bad luck. Every time I flipped to it, was on commercial, and I flipped to another game. I am on one side not surprised at all by this result. I'm on the Tri-City bandwagon currently. I guess if I were to, mention, I'm a little, I guess I'm not even surprised. This was kind of what I thought Tri-City would do to Sussex. I thought they'd hit him hard with some starters, put him in a spot, put him on the back foot, and then finish it out with the bullpen and not need to use too many bullpen arms because they do get a little sketchy as you go deeper in that pen. And they executed it, and that's really all you can ask for. The fact that, Silva struggled late was kind of something that got my attention.
I wouldn't call it really a struggle. He did well in game 1. In game 2, it was one bad pitch to Campos that Campos took deep, which, again, Oscar Campos hitting a bomb deep.
Was 3 hits, though.
In 2 innings.
Yeah. Okay. My point being, it wasn't, you're looking for him to lock that thing down. You put him in there for a 2-inning save, looking for it, which, by the way, not sure I would have done, but okay. That was one that gave me a little bit of pause. I don't think it's a long-term concern, but all right. The point also being they were able to continue and bounce back and they're able to roll. So it's fine. It all worked out. I'm trying to find some sort of wrinkles here when it comes to, how this went for Tri-City. Like the fact that they did have to push that hard to hold on. I'm flipped because I have Tri-City on one side and I have Sussex on the other, and they're flipped on the next box score over. So that's why I'm thrown off here on the who's giving up runs at what point.
I was going to say, because you're talking Silva gave Lewis. No,
I was
not at all.
No, I know. The
Albert did not do good. I mean, he started to really get hit even before
my game 1 and my game 2 got flipped. I kind of have had one on one side and the other the whole time. Yeah, because home away. And these flip this way. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm looking for things to chip away at. My problem is I don't have a ton to say because I saw less of the series, and I expected Tri-City to kind of handle business. So I'm looking for what do I take away from this? I take away the bats were a little quiet, but again, Parsons is not necessarily a comfortable guy to face. And Hensy, got screwed with his result, but
Hensy normally gets screwed by his team for
being it's kind of par for the course there.
Where he'll pitch really well, and then he'll just have a couple mistake pitches, and it's just it'll come at the worst possible time, or it'll be unearned runs, or runs are technically earned, but it's from something stupid a missed pop up in foul grounds, and then it leads to. Or someone wasn't covering the bag, and so thus it's a fielder's choice, or something like that.
And the thing with Tri-City I'm also seeing is the guys who gave up runs were kind of the guys that you're yeah, I'd expect that. The guys who delivered on the mound were the ones that you were hoping would. Where you start to worry is when you have a guy you're we're going to lean on him during this playoff run, and he gets out there and he gets smacked in his first outing. You're all right. And it didn't happen. That came through pretty unscathed.
Here's the thing, I look at Tri-City here, and what I see is this is a team that could let things spiral against a team that is better constructed, and that just so happens to be what they're playing against.
Okay, I can give you that.
There was times where I thought Sussex really could nail him to a cross right now. They just didn't have the bats to do it. I mean, you could look there. Smith had the nice double up the line, but he's not.
Basically, the bottom 5 in that lineup were honorary. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said for that on the Tri-City end, though, where their lineup was really kind of unimpressive in game one, where the 6, 7, 8, 9 guys really kind of came through, and then the 2, 3, 4 guys went 0 for 11. I think if you stretch it, it's like 2 for 15 if you stretch another spot in the lineup. But they sort of redid the lineup a bit, made some changes, and the lineup responded really well. That's a good thing. So I don't know. I'm impressed by what I've seen. I don't have anything going on that's shaken my confidence so far, other than the fact that Quebec did look good. But then again, Quebec struggling into the late air innings before the offense got rolling kind of makes me go, well, Tri-City this might be the right team to do it. Tri-City, as I've said before, has won 8 of 12 games against Quebec this year. And I don't know.
Here's the thing I take away, though, is I didn't love Quebec against New York, admittedly, but I'm still not really impressed by this Tri-City team. I saw more or less a minor team that was struggling at the plate and depleted. That still, I was like, you know what? I see a path forward on this still. And I keep coming back to, I've seen Quebec down to their last out and down by multiple runs and win that game. I don't believe Tri-City has that in them. And I think regular season's a lot different than when you have 8,000 screaming Quebecers on top of you. And the pressure's there. I think that's a different situation. I think playoff Quebec's a different team. There is something about it. And you talk to people around the league, and there's this mixture of hatred and respect when you talk to them. And it's just a universal agreed upon truth where it's just they're gonna find some way to do it. And you're not gonna like it and you're not gonna see it coming, but they're gonna find a way. And that's what Quebec does.
It is true. It's almost like they're discussed in some circles, the way you talk about the devil, where it's you don't like it, but you have to put a little bit of respect on it because you don't tempt it. You don't want the demons coming through your Ouija board, my guy.
The amount of people I talk to on eliminated teams in the East, both playoff and non-playoff, that just sent a text going, I hope someone beats Quebec.
Yeah.
It's stupidly high.
Yep.
There is a target on their back because they run this, and they will continue to run it until someone knocks them off. And this isn't just they're down 2 games to none in a best of 5. It's okay, well, get ready to lose 3 in Quebec. That's just how this goes. Again, ask Ottawa, ask Evansville, ask New Jersey, ask Schaumburg, ask Washington, ask them all what it's like to play this team. And the fresh hell that is. So, I'm not going to say Tri-City doesn't have the horses, but I am going to say the same thing I told people in both press boxes this weekend, where I told them to their face, you're a fool to bet against Quebec.
Dude, I said it in my post where I was like, the win probabilities say Tri-City over Quebec. It's narrow, but Tri-City over Quebec. My pick is Tri-City over Quebec. And I immediately followed it with congratulations to Quebec on your 4-peat, because it is known. But I think this is the best shot we've seen so far. So I don't know. I'm still sticking with them, but boy, it's not a confident pick of Tri-City. I'll tell you that much.
Well, we shall see. This time next week, we should have some answers. So, we got some decent length out of this one. We're both dead.
Should we do Lake Erie Schaumburg?
Do we really need to do Lake Erie Schaumburg?
Fair enough. Schaumburg beat them up.
Lake Erie. No disrespect to Lake Erie, but you guys, for a bottom 10 team, bottom 5 team, are being honest with ourselves batting wise. When your highest thing is batting average, and that's still T10, you were walking in there without an ability to win I understand the ballpark. I understand the win. You got to be able to do something offensively. You couldn't. You gave Schaumburg a scare in game 2, but like, even if you were to win it, come on, let's be real here. I do admire the pitching depth. I admire what Jared Watkins is doing. They're revitalizing the team, but like, need a bat. Need a no matter what travels type bat. I don't care what you gotta spend. You need someone in that lineup that can hit, because there isn't anyone in that lineup that can hit. There you go. There's your summary.
Like Yuri, I took you a little more seriously. I certainly didn't pick you, but I took you more seriously.
Schaumburg, watch the pitching. That's the only thing I'll say. Watch the pitching. But we did get the matchup we wanted. And quite frankly, if we're being honest with ourselves here, while selfishly I wanted the teams near me to be, advancing, because, hey, more baseball for me that I don't have to pay to watch. We probably did get the best possible semifinal matchups.
Yeah, and Bud, we're really close to you and I having a lot of hangout time and bouncing back and forth between a York-Lancaster series. So we'll see where this goes.
You want to throw some plugs out so that way we can be done with this?
Yeah, absolutely. Indie Ball Nation on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I got All Stars coming out soon. And then I'm going to be kind of gear shifting to just doing some long form stuff as we get into the off season. And I'm going to kind of see how I feel about that and how people like it. So got some very weird Indie Ball deep dives that some of you sickos are going to love. And everyone else is going to go, why does this person exist? Which is fair.
Indie Ball Pod, Indie Ball Report. Gonna have series of recaps up on Sunday once they're all done, because that makes sense. So look forward to that, plus other stuff. Yeah. So I think we said everything we came to do. Hopefully this will be up before too late in the night. But you'll know when it's up because you'll be hearing it. But yeah, until next time, don't forget to play ball.